Well, probably the most exciting part of Iron Man 3 is having Sir Ben Kingsley and Rebecca Hall and Guy Pearce and all of these new talents that are raising the bar and making us look good. Well, they won't be disappointed. The real fans have been driving the content of these movies for a while now. I knew it when John and I, when we first went to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And he said this is a new level of fan, filmmaker, actor, artist integration, and it seems like that's come true. Well, folks who have seen the movie say that he's a really fresh surprise, and yet he's kind of been a bit of our Obi-Wan from the beginning. Of course, this time he and I were calling Jon Favreau asking for tips, so it all comes full circle.
It's completely unlike anything I've witnessed before, so it's quite overwhelming and very, very exciting. I mean, people love these movies, and with good reason. It feels very, sort of energizing to be a part of it. It's very exciting. Well, Maya Anson is a scientist whose genius is sort of on a level with Tony Stark's, can definitely match him intellectually. She's a figure from his past who ends up being a significant influence on his present and his future. I think it's completely reductive to suggest that women don't like films that involve action and boys and gadgets, because I think times have moved on now a little bit. We're not just interested in knitting, but I also think that these films offer, strong and kind of intelligent, smart women as well as the sort of more action-based stuff. And there's a kind of screwballs sort of Battle of the Sexes comedy that goes on as well between Pepper Potts and, Tony Stark, and that's kind of a very appealing thing that's not necessarily what you expect from a superhero movie.
Well, in this one, when we come back and see Rhodey, he's a little deeper into his job as a colonel in the Army, but he's also, got a lot more to do in this film and a lot more depth with his relationship with Tony. So it was fun to come back and do it again. Well, in this film, we revisit these guys, post when the sky opened up and aliens came out and they had to beat them back. And now it's about, us teaming up and trying to deal with, the forces that are on this planet. And it's just a lot more for us to do, and we spend a lot of time outside the suits, kicking ass, so that's fun too. Well, in this one, the War Machine has been rebranded as Iron Patriot, and still functions the same, just a different paint job. And Tony goes in on Rhodey a little bit about it, but it's a lot of fun. It gives us an opportunity to just keep pushing it. Well, I guess doing the stunt work was a challenge, but it wasn't necessarily anything that was insurmountable. I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm a physical actor, so that's something I actually looked really forward to. Well, it's great to have this kind of support and to have the fans, braving the elements and really supporting it and being behind it all the way. So I hope we give them a product that they're going to dig.
Stepping out on a red carpet is always a bit of a shock to the system. The sheer volume of enthusiasm, the shouts of your name, the appearance again of all the cast together. We haven't seen each other for a little while. I just love enthusiasm. It's so terrific. It keeps this business going. He fits in really interestingly because although he has a Chinese name, and the name means advisor to the king, the Mandarin fits into the movie by actually being more American than Chinese. He's more Western, and therefore he's like the attack from within, rather than an external foreign force. I think that's rather clever of them to make that choice. The new guy is welcomed so warmly that you feel you're a team player after about 30 seconds. I can so distinctly remember arriving on the set and everybody, they were all shooting a scene, they all came off the set, said hello, greeted me, and then I was allowed to do my job. It was wonderful. This particular Iron Man 3 seems to go down one road and then swerves and does a U-turn and does another, but it's so skillfully made and edited. Then it swerves and does another. Then you think the enemy's here, then he's there, then he's there, then he's there. It's so full of surprises, but the audience will be carried along on a great roller coaster ride. And you know what? It doesn't dumb down. I really studied the script, and there are clues in the script that led me towards that voice. Something that Robert's character says, something that's said about me, the rhythm of the writing. Drew's writing and Shane's writing is great. And I came up with the voice in the hotel room, and Drew recorded it the next day, and he said, no, Shane, sorry, and said, that's it, that's the voice.
When I was offered to write Iron Man 3, it was it was a big step up for me. I'd written a movie for Marvel already called Runaways, which hopefully one day will still get made, but kind of got lost in the shuffle when Avengers kind of like stepped up to the plate. But I was kind of in some way part of the family, and so it was a huge day. But the interesting thing about a movie like this is you already have the release date. So you get a job and there's not really that moment to celebrate because suddenly it's head down for 2 years and you just got to hit that date. And, you know, we finished it 5 weeks ago. People assume that we're given like a quite strong mandate by Marvel, and obviously Kevin Feige, the producer of this movie and the kind of architect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has a very strong guiding hand. But partly because of when we started writing this, we actually had kind of a clean slate. Bear in mind, Captain America hadn't even come out yet. Avengers was a script that we read towards the end of writing our first draft, and it was only when we were actually shooting Iron Man 3 that Avengers came out and became a worldwide phenomenon. I think the biggest challenge was always finding something that felt new, not least because we wanted the audience to have it, but also because, you know, Robert isn't going to approach a movie and give his all to it if he's not excited to do it. And so, truthfully, you've got a very hard customer to please right there, and so that's a good starting point. We very much come off the back of Avengers Assemble in that Tony kind of at the end of Avengers Assemble reaches the end of a trilogy. He saves the world. He's kind of redeemed himself from everything that he was at the beginning of Iron Man 1. And what then became exciting for Shane and I was the question of what actually happens next. He's a guy who went into a cave, this spoiled brat, 5 years ago, and he emerged from that cave a superhero called Iron Man. And the question that we kept coming back to was, where did Tony Stark go? And we liked the idea that this is a movie where Tony has to try and find the hero that he is rather than just who the icon of Iron Man is. What's amazing about the collaborative process for Iron Man 3 is that in an odd way, even though it's this vast machine and this vast movie, the way that Kevin Feige and Marvel make movies is actually, it's like a family business. There's a core team of 5 or 6 of us who break the story and who, you know, kind of drive it along, and then there's this amazing setup, arguably the finest kind of studio for action and previs and all of those elements that exist in the world today. And so, truthfully, what's exciting about it is that they kind of go, here are the tools, it's yours to mess up, which again has some intimidation level to it, but it's also an amazing opportunity.
When I got the call from Robert Downey about Iron Man 3, I was excited, but I wasn't that afraid, because at the time all I could think to myself was, oh wow, a go picture, because you know that these movies, they get made. And there's a train, there's a machine that just starts moving once they announce the movie, and it doesn't stop until the release date, which is inevitable. I'm so happy to have jumped on a 2-year train where there was enormous help along the way. They held my hand through the visual effects parts of it. I had this education which is absolutely invaluable as to all the technical aspects of making a film this big. And so now I'm armed with things I never would have had at my disposal before, thanks to this one phone call from Robert Downey saying, hey man, I think I trust you enough to do this. Well, I'll date myself a little bit by announcing that I bought my first Iron Man comic book in 1966. I was 4 years old and enjoyed the hell out of it. Was impressed by the character, and Iron Man has always been a more realistic member of the Marvel sort of lineup. Because if you look at the early ones, he was born, his character emerged from Vietnam, which was an actual thing even then as a child. I could watch on the news and say, wait a minute, this feels kind of real, this Iron Man character. And similarly, John picked up on that with placing him in Afghanistan. That's what's great about Iron Man, even the suit being called the Iron Man, like it's an aircraft or a weapon instead of a superhero costume. I love all that. So this was my bailiwick. I thought I could do a more realistic kind of character-based thing with one of my favorite actors, and then look at the actors we got in addition to Robert Downey. This has just been a dream. I wish there was a story in Jon Favreau sort of being in the movie after having directed the first two and it was really confrontational or weird. I wish I could say that. It wasn't. He came on set as an actor in every position to look at me in this director's chair and say, what a schmuck. And instead he was so gracious and friendly and offered so many tips that he actually made the transition as easy and accommodating as I can imagine. So we talk a lot, and I find out that he and I kind of view these things similarly. And to me, it felt just like working with a buddy. Him and Downey together on the movie with me comforted me. It made me more able to just relax and do my job because they were so gracious and collaborative.